Oh, this, and well, I've been meaning to do this review for a while, so none of you go, he's reviewing a J.J. Abrams show? Kinda. And another show. Okay. You know, pretty much I've done short little reviews on certain shows. The last one was Terra Nova, which, it's bizarre science and time paradox, and how that show basically confuses the living shit out of me right now. And I gave up on that show. And yes, I saw the season finale Terra Nova and didn't really care for it. And I don't think it's going to get renewed anyways. And, and of course, Terra Nova was named after a bad it was named after a terrible episode of Star Trek Enterprise, which is and by the way, Terra Nova was produced by Brian Braga, who also used to do the Star Trek series, wrote Terra Nova on the Terra Nova episode, and wrote the Threshold episode, but also produced a TV show called Threshold, which was also canceled after its first season. But anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about both Alcatraz and Once Upon a Time. And the reason why I'm going to talk about these two shows is that they suffer one major flaw. And this is a really big one. Unfortunately, for Once Upon a Time, that the ratings have been going up, and I'm going to say it right off the bat. I don't care for Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time suffers from numerous amounts of problems. One of which is, well, the one that really gets me is that half the story is in today's time, and the other half of the story is in fairy tales. And the problem with that is that, either I'm watching a pretty decent drama set into today's world, and then when I get to the fairy tales, it looks like a bad episode of Charm. Just send in the Charm ones, I guess. And I haven't gotten to the major problem yet because this is also the major problem towards Alcatraz. And Alcatraz has several problems. Now, first of all, they have really great actors, but one. The lead actress in the Alcatraz story, her acting, how can I put this in the best light? It sucks. That's pretty much the best light. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is just watch the beginning of just about every episode on where they keep replaying that damn scene where she finds out that her grandfather, thinking that it was a guard because her uncle told her that he was a guard, but instead was a prisoner and is one of the people who mysteriously disappeared and now has come back and ended up killing her partner. And her reaction to this is like, wow, I'm so joyful. My grandfather's alive, but he killed my partner and best friend, so I must kill him. Am I acting? But I will say this: I do love Sam Neill's bizarre, somewhat assholish like character that he's pretty much given off. He comes off as a creepy FBI and a fucked up human being. And I actually like that character. Yeah, I do. I actually like Sam Neill's character. Then you had that Garcia guy from, the Lost series. And he's really great in the series too. Being a comic book nerd, just like in the Lost when he was in the Lost series, and of course the reason why he's there is because he wrote a bunch of Alcatraz books, which does make sense. But like I said, most of these were just small nitpicking. Here's the main problem to both shows that I'm holding back on. Okay, in Alcatraz, there's 140 people who went missing and are mysteriously coming back, and that's counting both prisoners, guards, and a few workers. And with Once Upon a Time, these are fairy tale characters stuck in the real world as they remember their past is being told through various flashbacks, just like Lost, but it instead comes out, looking like bad episodes of Charm. Yeah, I'm going to say that a lot. But here's the problem. In Alcatraz, and this is the same problem that was in another TV show called Prison Break. And in Prison Break, it was like, what happens after they break out of prison? And the second season was that they're fugitives. Third season, they become prisoners again. And then comes another question: what happens when they re-break out of another prison? I don't know. I haven't kept up with Prison Break, or if you couldn't tell. But then by the last season, it was like, let's just copy 24. No one will notice. Yeah, it was pretty much obvious that the show was on its last legs after that. And this is bad. We have been following these types of TV shows that basically says what will happen after all this is done. Do you have a continuing story? And with Happily Ever After and Alcatraz, I don't see it because they're both very limited by their in games. What happens if all the fairy tale characters finally remember that they're from fairy tale lands? What then? And in Alcatraz, what happens after they capture all those people? And not only that, and to make that even worse, it's localized just around Alcatraz. So, what's the second season going to be? More Alcatraz? What? To tell you the truth, I would have at least made a show, at least not call it Alcatraz, but I don't know, the missing people or something, where people just randomly disappeared and then came back. That would have been more, you know, and just put an unknown set of numbers of how many people disappeared. But that would have made more sense. It wouldn't be so localized as just into one fucking place, which is the biggest fucking mistake right there on Alcatraz. And of course, also it's distorting storylines, which makes you just want to shoot yourself. And of course, the same problems in fucking Happily Ever After, but Happily Ever After's ratings are going through the roof. But why? Why? Look, there's another show that J.J.R. Abrams, a sci-fi show called Fringe, and I'm not going to get into details about it, but Fringe is better. In fact, I like Fringe. But yet nobody is going to that show for some bizarre, fucking stupid reason. And all I can say is stop watching Happily Ever After and Alcatraz and put your concentration on Fringe. At least by the whole season set. Because Fringe is so much more better. And it makes so much more sense than what I'm seeing right now in sci-fi television. That's it.